this game ends up going the distance here, simply because... Welcome to Vani Research Station. It's game 3 here, where the yellow Zerg player spawning in the 6 o'clock position is currently 2-0 up and enjoying a healthy advantage. Is he really on course to go for 4 straight King of the Hill victories here on the hot seat, despite being against what might be his strongest opponent yet? It's Petraeus representing mYinsanity. And his opponent, formerly of Root Gaming and 8th Team, ladies and gentlemen, a super strong Terran player, currently playing on one of his practice accounts on the European server. Ladies and gents, it's Major. Alright, now, both in games 1 and 2, we saw Major go for a Reaper opening into a reasonably quick third command center. We had 2 separate responses from Petraeus in game number 1. We saw the corresponding Roach Bane all-in. Well, I say all-in, just a huge attack. And it happened to work. It just busted down the natural expansion of Major before he was able to get a bunker and any sort of defenses up. No Hellbats either, only Hellions. Really well done by Petraeus. Game number 2, Petraeus went for the Spire instead and played the longer game with a lot of Mutalisk harass. And he ended up on something like 75 workers killed versus 10 by the end of that game. So doing a very good job. A little bit of scouting, by the way, out here from a drone. Just to make sure that he isn't about to be 2 racks in any sort of pretty aggressive location. I guess he hasn't really checked here by the gold base yet. But he just wanted to scout around to make sure nothing was hidden, and indeed nothing will be. We have the barracks now, by the way. And we have got the first Reaper en route. So Major is once again going to be going for the same strategy. Are we going to be seeing a natural expansion here, followed by a third command center? Ooh, well, it'll be natural expansion here, pardon me, followed by a third command center. I'd have to say something in the region of here, if he wants to prevent the Overlords from taking a look at it straight away. I don't know. If games 1 and 2 are anything to go by, that would indeed be the case. And meanwhile, still only the 1 gas with 3 workers on it here from Petraeus' view of the world. Spawning pool about to complete. He's already up to, well, just up to 30 gas at the moment, so it's not going to be an instantaneous Zergling speed, but he probably doesn't need it to be. He just needs to make sure he defends against these Reapers that are going to be coming out. The first one now on its way. And the Queen, you can see here, thanks to that short rush distance on the 2-player map, not out by the time the Reaper takes the first shot. So we're going to have a little bit of micro here, just to be a bit annoying to start things off with. Good micro from Petraeus on the drone itself to force the Reaper to start firing on the Zerglings instead. Is this going to buy enough time for the Queen to come out? The Reaper's trying to probe once again, and the Queen now pops. There we go. And is this drone... Oh, 1 drone goes down. Really nice there, and the Reaper just gets away with 1 hit point. Literally 1 hit point. And Petraeus is going to be a little annoyed at that, I have to be honest. But, well, that's what it's like in this game of StarCraft here. The Queen now trying to surprise the Reapers on the ramp, not quite able to do so, but a really good idea there from Petraeus. As now the factory completes. Now note, by the way, we have a much quicker reactor here in this game. And the third command center is actually going to be placed in the top left as opposed to the top right, which I thought might have been happening early on. So it is going to be a similar style. This hasn't even finished yet, so this is basically the same as game number 1's build, where both the second and third command centers were at one point in progress at the same time. And meanwhile, Zergling speed's about to complete. Petraeus is actually up to 29 workers now. Ooh, up to 32, pardon me. I guess, there's 3 more in production. Versus the 24 already on the field and in production for Major. So try to get ahead in economy, and of course Major's going to want to disrupt that via Reapers and Hellions, a la game 1 here. A couple of Lings are just going to poke and prod. Ooh, just raising that in time, and those Lings do indeed get fried. They doth get toasted. And they're going to be heading on back down towards the natural expansion. Now 2 Lings are no match. And the layer is going to be coming out right now. Has the third command center been spotted this time? Yes, it has indeed. So he knows that this is a similar build to game 1. Well, he certainly knows it's a similar build to both games, but it's actually the earlier command center this time. And we've got the layer about to complete for Petraeus. So I suspect we're going to be seeing a spire incoming very, very soon indeed. There's the bathing nest going down for that potential defense required. There is no roach warren, so this defense, if there were a large number of Reapers, could be a little bit annoying, but it looks like it's fine so far. Just the 4 Hellions waiting to see if there's going to be any sort of creep troopers on the low ground. They're spreading a creep trooper and then cancelling it as Petraeus, realizing that he can't quite get away with that. That's fine. And there is the spire. It's actually inside the main base, right off to the right-hand side next to the gas there. I think the Queens are going to have to come down and try and battle these Hellions. That's what they're going to have to do. Are they going to try and sneak past and go up the ramp? That could end up being a mistake with these Zerglings here. And finally, the Creep Trooper gets placed on the low ground. The Queen's actually going off creep to ensure the Hellions do not get any sort of purchase on it whatsoever. And now we're going up to the Starport Tech along with double engineering bay there from Major. So, yeah, I was wondering what kind of upgrade that was in particular, but we are going to be getting more Queens from Petraeus' point of view. The Spire is about to complete as well. He's already bagged up about 700 gas, so he's going to have a decent time creating those initial Mutalisks. He's on to 4 gases. His third base is going down now as well. It'll be a little while before he gets up to 6 gas, but no doubt he'll be doing that. There is a scan. The scan is inside the main base. It sees that the Spire is complete. That is pretty much everything at the moment Major needs to know. And thanks to the gooping up, actually, from these overlords, next to the female Karak, ladies and gentlemen, he knows that his opponent hasn't actually taken his third yet. So this third CC has been producing SCVs for a while, but is only now starting to float over. Obviously, still the sub 10-minute mark here. And this army will now spot that it is, in fact, being gooped up by an overlord. So they will have to move out to try and stop it from spreading any further. And the Overlord will be petrified right away, but it won't be able to get there fast enough. And here we go. Stimming back now as a run-by of Lings actually gets into the natural. Oh, and the Mutalisks, well, they provide a decent cannon fodder here, but really the Lings are going to town on these workers. It's 9-10. Are we going to get up to 11 workers killed? No, here come the Marines to try and stop things, and they will, actually. That second batch will be just fine. But 11 workers killed versus 2, almost getting that missile turret, but not quite able to. The Mutalisks now forcing the third to move away as well, and Petraeus really just harassing Major at every turn. So Major not really enjoying these setbacks here. He's still on a healthy supply. He's at 95 versus 93 in this particular game. But he's only on 44 workers versus the 63 of Petraeus. This seems to be the story of this game. Petraeus is just constantly backering up while preventing his opponent from doing the same. And Major is actually performing exactly the same thing, except that he's being the more defensive-minded of the two. He's the one having to try and stop the sort of little attacks that Petraeus has been doing here and there from succeeding. We haven't seen drops succeed from Major. We haven't seen little Hellion run-bys that kill off 4 or 5 workers or anything like that. No Widow Mine drops. He's actually just been the one being harassed. But he's now moving it onto the edge of Crete, and he's got 1-1 on his ground army, by the way, versus 0-0 on the ground army of Petraeus. He's only got the +1 meter attacks right now. And I think with Combat Shield complete and with Stim, this could end up being quite a big deal. These Marines, oh, wow, almost getting that Overlord as well. Does that supply block Petraeus? No, not even close. He's at 123 out of 158. So this is taking Major a little bit on a wild goose chase, and I'm pretty sure Petraeus is very happy for this kind of game of chase to occur, because he's probably just trying to buy as much time as he can right now, especially since he's now starting his 4th base. The third, meanwhile, is healthy, and another factory is going down, interestingly here, for Major, next to that third position. Here comes the army, though, in the meantime. There are a lot of banelings here, so I kind of want to be keeping an eye out for really, really big, scary explosions, but it looks like the armies are going to be backing off. A little bit of light harassment damage, and by light harassment damage, we mean 2 banelings. Oh, dear. At the third base location. That cannot have been a pleasant way to die, by the way. And Major's army still kind of chilling out, waiting out on the map. I think he might be waiting for 2-2 now at this point. If there was any 1-1 timing, it's probably out the door by now. But we have medevacs on the way, which is great. We have a ridiculous number of Marines coming out, which is also great for the Terran player. And when that 2-2 completes, this army is going to be so fearsome. And he's going to complete his 2-2 comfortably before, by the way, Petraeus completes his. So a scan to take out. Ooh, if he takes all the active creep troopers, that would be quite good indeed. There we go, taking all but one out. And Petraeus looking to hopefully defend on the edge of creep. A couple of Banelings try and get some attacks, but not quite the best connects in the world, I have to admit. And, oh, another Zergling run by does get shut down. I wonder if he was going to stay and fight those Marines there, but a really good idea while seeing his opponent out in the middle of the map. He's got Ein Hellbat, who appears to be the mascot of this formation here. So let's see how well he does. A decent Baneling hit to begin with, but he's going to need a lot of decent Baneling hits if he wants to plow through this entire army. Still a lot of Marines and a lot of DPS left here, and here we go. Plowing in with Banelings both on the left and right, and actually Petraeus is able to get some money hits there. And now we have the Mutalists chasing down these medevacs all the way home. And look, they're going to have to drop their quarries so that they can stay alive. Reinforcements arrive as well to try and say, okay, look, mate, I'm still going to be able to hold the center of the map here. And whether he's right or wrong, Petraeus is saying, fine, I believe you. I'm just going to move away with my Mutas for now. I don't have to take this engagement if I don't feel like it, which I think is absolutely the right way to think right now. 18 more Banelings on the way as well, so we're preparing potentially for quite a big bust here. These medevacs and Marines, they're out in the middle of the map and they're trying their best to do as much harassment damage as possible, but the economy is 4 base and untouched right now for our Zerg player. It's just comfortable here. And, oh, that might change actually as a drop comes in on the bottom right hand corner. The workers all get pulled instantly. It's not going to be anywhere close to enough time for this hatchery, though, to complete, because we have Zerglings now moving in to reinforce, and unfortunately, those medevacs are going to mean that there is no chance, snowball's chance in hell, ladies and gents, where this attack could succeed. And the Mutas, they find the medevac, they kill it off as well. No boost engage, but we have a counterattack here. Moving on to creep is Major. He's going on the left-hand side. This base is looking like it might be toasted a little bit soon. Great reactions there from Major. Oh my goodness! Really close to losing everything there and picking a lot of stuff up in the medevac. What a tense moment for both players. And now we have the Zerglings and Banelings moving back up to where the medevacs have dropped a lot of the army. And they do not get raised back into the medevacs. So unfortunately, this army is going to die. And Major falls behind in supply. He's at 145 to 150. The Mutas will have to go back because there aren't quite enough Banelings to take out the reinforcements. But that was a big loss for our Terran player there. No doubt at all. And bases have not been killed off. There's a couple of very annoying Widow Mines, but they are just very annoying Widow Mines right now. They're not actually game-winning or anything of the sort just yet. The Mutas, Zerglings, and Banelings moving in, and once again, all of the Marines get cleaned up by the Banelings, and 141 to 128 supply now. Petraeus is in the lead, and he's not being harassed, and he is comfortably on a base more than our Terran player. Is he going to be going for a 5th base as well? He could potentially take the gold location right now or produce units to try and end this all together. He's got the infestation pit down now inside his main base. If you're wondering why, that's because that hatchery, by the way, isn't actually his main hatchery. We appear to have upgraded to the layer there, so this is still his main. And really, there hasn't been much in the way of harassment. Major, I mean, I've seen him drop 1 or 2 times more this game than I did in games 1 and 2, but unfortunately they just haven't been effective at all. And we have another 2-pronged attack coming in from Petraeus. Zerglings and Banelings on the left-hand side, potentially followed by a main army of Mutas over here, and more Ling Bane through the middle. So he's really just keeping Major guessing as to where on earth are you going to be. And here's a medevac following. Wow, we've got 4 Widow Mines in here, trying to infiltrate one of the bases. It looks like it's going to be possible. Really excellent plant on the Widow Mine, and very good workers hit. Number of workers killed this game, let's take a look. It's 29 to 32, so really a boxing match and a slugfest of both players absolutely going at each other's throats right now. Now, Major's army moves out through the middle here, and I'm a little bit skeptical because he's just seen that Petraeus has given up the watchhouse. So Petraeus knows he's coming, And if I was Petraeus, I'd have Lings here right now, ready to swoop in. But I guess that's what these Widow Mines are for. Oh, and look at that. It's not going to be Lings, it's going to be the Mutas instead. But he basically just read my mind, ladies and gents. And Major's seen this. He moves the Widow Mines into position. Don't forget, he's got the fast tunneling as well, so it only takes 1 second for those Widow Mines to take root. And these Mutas are actually flying all the way into the main base. So all of a sudden, these Marines are going to have a much, much tougher time getting their hands on this army. Just a really frustrating thing to have to move by ground when your opponent is able to fly. But that's one of the things about being Terran, ladies and gents. That's why Marines are so good. They can hit everything. Everyone loves them. As far as the DPS is concerned, they're basically one of the highest in the game, etc., etc. And now, Petraeus, can he see what he can't quite see what the changing. This army is moving out again, and he couldn't quite see what the Mutalisks either, so he needs to be very careful. Okay, he definitely sees it now. And he knows an attack is incoming. And I think if he wins this particular attack, he's going to be feeling pretty comfortable for the rest of the game, because it's bought him enough time to get some Swarmhosts out on the field, but Enduring Locust is still in research, and 5 more Swarmhosts are in production. That doesn't tend to be good if you manage to catch a player unprepared. He's on 8 Swarmhosts at the moment, so 5 more would indeed be very, very perfect indeed. And now we have Petraeus, his 4th base is being knocked on. Major is saying, I would really, really like this hatchery, please. Are you going to be able to give it to me? The Swarmer is starting to whittle away the Marines, but there are so many left. There's so much DPS. Here come the Mutas. They'll defend only if absolutely necessary against the Marines there. And there are the Banelings. So a combination of Swarmhost and Baneling is going to force this particular engagement back. And wow, well, that's a lot of Widow Mines there that failed to explode. And right now, I have to say I'm handing the advantage to Petraeus. He's done a great job of backering up, but more importantly, while he backered up, he's kind of forced his opponent to not back her up as much. He's been killing workers, he's been disrupting economies, he's been picking off armies, forcing Major to produce more army instead of focusing on improving. Instead of focusing on improving the offering as far as the rest of the game is concerned. But wow, the army walked straight into the Swarmhost. I wonder if that was a deliberate bait there. I get the impression it was not, but that could have been so bad for mYinsanity's Petraeus. He gets away with that, though, just about. Both players now at 94 supply, with 3-2 upgrades for our Terran and only 2-2 for Petraeus. So, interestingly, Major has opted not to go for the third armor upgrade. I'm not really sure why. I think it's because he wants to sink his money potentially into those Widow Mines, but he's floating 700 gas. So if he had the mineral income for, say, 10 to 20 in-game seconds, he could get that level 3 started. But he is keeping his minerals low. He is constantly spending. So we'll see what that judgment ends up being on. Now this army, the center, still isn't doing much. Major basically is allowing Petraeus to play his own game, and as a result, I think Petraeus is taking this space in the middle as well. I'm really surprised the goal hasn't been taken. I think he just could. But really, this team here is the only thing that stands between Petraeus and a 3-0 lead right now. And 3-0 leads, well, I think Petraeus is going to be feeling pretty happy about that. Strictly speaking, this will be a 4-0 lead as well as far as series are concerned, if he's able to win in the best of 9 this evening. So we're now 26 minutes into this game. Swarm hosts on the field. Enduring Locust now complete. More and more Swarm hosts popping out. We've got 12, so we will have 13. We have a ridiculous number of Mutas and Banelings out for Petraeus as well. So a very ZV everything kind of approach. And a Swarm host now picking off a couple of units on the left-hand side of the map, but we are alerted to an attack from Major. A great concave there, but only against the free units right now. Is he going to be able to pick off the Swarm host? One Swarm host down, 2, 3, 4. Is he going to target fire them? Yes, 5, 6. And that's a lot of Swarm hosts going down to just Marines, but they were clumped up for the Banelings. Petraeus fights back. He's not afraid. He doesn't care. But unfortunately, Major does. He sacrifices about half his army to get into that kind of position. And if... wow. I mean, if Major right now takes out all of the mutas and all of the swarm hosts, well, that's a lot of time that Petraeus has spent trying to get this army together. They're in such red health, these units. It's ridiculous. A little bit of overstimming, and the mutas are now on top of it. 94 supply versus 160. I think Petraeus is going to be winning game number 3, guys. He might well go 3-0 up here. I don't see a way back for Major when he's half the supply down, and Petraeus is now moving in for the counterattack. And this central base is absolutely going down. This is almost his last stand. Looks like he's making a temporary stand here with the Marines, just thanks to the sheer number of medevacs he had there. But watch what happens when Petraeus regroups. He goes, oh, you just beat me somewhere. Okay then, let me go ahead and see if Infinity Banelings works. And I have to say, against this setup, I think it really will. So let's find out. Under 100 supply still for Major at 98. We have Lings, we have Swarm Hosts incoming, and we have Infestors potentially in the mix a little bit later on as well. Just going to be using the Swarm Host for now. And the mutas will be able to deal with any sort of aerial threat as well. So Major really is stuck between a rock and a hard place. We need more Widow Mines, we need more Marines. We just need a lot of units and some really, really fantastic engagement stat. But Petraeus is doing a good job, actually, of choosing his battles very carefully. Yes, he can take some bad engagements and still win, but he's saying, well, I shouldn't even have to do that. I'm just going to take good engagements regardless. And that's a really good approach for him to have. We've got some Marines and some Banelings making each other's acquaintance over here in the back. And by acquaintance, I mean death. Oh, good golly gosh, that was a massacre. Yeah, I don't really know what else to say about that. More kitchen plates being broken, unfortunately, in that attack. These mutas are now moving into the left-hand side to try and look for anything that they can pick off. The Swarmers, in the meantime, have overrun the central base at Major. Yes, he's back up to 110 supply, but it is versus 180. Here comes the Muta Swarmers combo against the middle. The tower does go down, and now... these Marines potentially taking a pounding here. Needs to be careful with the life on those Locusts, because now only the Mutalists are left. And Petraeus does the wise thing and moves back. So, no sign of a transition, by the way, yet from Petraeus. He hasn't got the Ultralisk Cavern being advertised or anything like that at the moment. He's just continuing to produce Banelings and Mutalisks right now. And this army, over time, is just going to look more and more scary. I mean, so is the army of Major, don't get me wrong. But Major's definitely the one defending right now. And he's defending well, but he's also defending for his life. And most people tend to defend okay when you realize your life is on the line. GG, ladies and gents. It's not going to be enough. He checked the scan and went, whoa, that's actually too much for me to deal with right now. Here come the Banelings and the Mutas. I can't handle it. And mYinsanity's Petraeus takes a 3-0 lead in the hot seat, best of 9. This is week 4, guys. We'll be right back.